The Ghost of the Golden Prince, the Death of Germanicus. Every nation has a "where were you when it happened" moment, a day when a single tragedy shatters the public sense of innocence and changes the course of history forever. For modern America, that day was November 22, 1963 in Dallas. But for the Roman Empire, that moment happened nearly 2,000 years earlier, in the year AD 19, in the city of Antioch. The victim was Germanicus Julius Caesar, the man destined to be the third emperor of Rome. He was young, handsome, a brilliant military commander, and a master orator. To the Roman people, he was more than just a prince, he was the embodiment of Rome's future. When news of his death reached the capital, the reaction was not just grief, it was a seismic wave of rage. Riots erupted. Public buildings were daubed with the words, "Rede Germanicum," "Give us back Germanicus." The Golden Couple. If you want to understand why his death felt like the ultimate homicide case of the ancient world, you have to look at the man himself. Germanicus was the grandson of Augustus and the adopted son of the current emperor Tiberius. He and his wife, Agrippina the Elder, were the glamorous couple of the first century. While Tiberius was seen as cold, suspicious, and reclusive, Germanicus was out in the field, winning back the lost eagles of Rome's legions in the forests of Germany. He was a war hero who actually cared for his soldiers, and he had a family that the public adored. But in the world of Roman politics, being too popular was a death sentence. The Syrian Shadow. In AD 17, Tiberius sent Germanicus to the east to settle affairs in the provinces of Syria and Armenia. It was a promotion, but it was also a trap. To keep an eye on him, Tiberius appointed a man named Gnaeus Calpurnius Piso as the governor of Syria. Piso and Germanicus were like oil and water. They clashed over everything from military orders to social etiquette. Piso's wife, Plancina, was equally hostile to Agrippina. The atmosphere in the Syrian headquarters became toxic, thick with rumors and resentment. Then Germanicus fell ill. The mystery in the bedroom. As Germanicus lay dying in Antioch at the age of only 34, things took a turn for the macabre. According to historian Tacitus, when Germanicus's attendants searched his house, they found horrific things hidden in the walls and under the floorboards. Human remains and lead sheets engraved with Germanicus's name alongside curse tablets known as defixiones. These tablets were meant to consign the victim's soul to the gods of the underworld. Germanicus himself became convinced he was being murdered, not just by disease, but by poison and dark magic. On his deathbed, he begged his friends to avenge him, specifically pointing the finger at Piso. The return of Agrippina. The image of Germanicus's death is hauntingly similar to the aftermath of the JFK assassination. Agrippina the Elder, like Jackie Kennedy, stoically bore the weight of the tragedy. She personally carried her husband's ashes in a golden urn all the way from Syria back to Rome. When her ship docked at Brindisi, thousands of people lined the roads in silence. When she reached Rome, the grief turned into a political firestorm. Agrippina was vocal. Her husband had been murdered to clear the path for Tiberius's own biological son. The trial of the century. In AD 20, Piso was put on trial before the Senate. The public stood outside the bronze doors, screaming for his blood. Much like the Warren Commission in the JFK case, the Senate's investigation was a mess of contradictions. Piso claimed he was only following the secret instructions of the emperor himself. But before the verdict could be delivered, Piso was found dead with his throat cut. Was it suicide out of guilt, or was he silenced by Tiberius to prevent him from revealing the truth? The Senate eventually ruled that there was no proof of poisoning, but the Roman public never believed them. To the people, Germanicus had been the victim of a high-level political conspiracy. Legend versus reality. Was Germanicus actually murdered? Modern historians offer a more mundane possibility. Syria was a death trap for Roman officials. In the century following Germanicus's death, 25 other high-ranking Roman governors died there of natural causes. He might have simply succumbed to a local virus, made worse by the stress of his feud with Piso. But the truth almost didn't matter. The mystery was what changed Rome. The death of Germanicus was the pivot point. With the Golden Prince gone, Tiberius retreated into a reign of terror and paranoia. The succession eventually fell to Germanicus's youngest son, a boy who traveled with his father on those German campaigns and was nicknamed Little Boots by the soldiers. That boy's real name was Caligula. If Germanicus had lived, Rome might have enjoyed a golden age of stability. Instead, his death opened the door to some of the most infamous tyrants in human history. Like many great whodunits, the tragedy isn't just in the death itself, but in the world that was left behind.